Good day, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of Going Places. I am Beth Bartel, and I'm here today with Liz, who is a postdoc at Cambridge.
Yeah, hi. I just moved to England at the beginning of the month, so perfect pandemic timing to dive into immigration. Good luck to everybody. I hope everyone's staying safe. But let's get to it. So today, I am going to take you to the great state of Idaho. But before we get into that, just a little bit of background. I did my PhD in Florida. I am from the Northeast, the Canada, New England area. And I'm a first-gen college student and went to a 2-year college. So if that is you, we are each other's people, and that is exciting. Good luck with your studies and learning. But yeah, today I'm not going to talk about any of that. We are going to go to the great state of Idaho. So Idaho has been in the news recently because there was that earthquake in the Chalice Stanley area. So before we get to what I want to talk about, which is the Eastern Snake River Plain, I want to point out the area where the earthquake was, which is right near this, where the word Idaho is in the center of the screen. But what we are interested in talking about today is this weird flat trough kind of in the middle of the screen. You can see on the right, we've got some mountains. On the north part, we got some mountains. On the south, we got some mountains. And on the left, we have Boise. So we are interested in the area in the center of that. There's a couple of black blobs. Those are lava flows. We're going to talk about a few of those things. And so to build some context, if we see this lake, which is right in the middle of the screen, that is Yellowstone Lake in this area. And so the area that we're talking about, the Snake River Plain, before Yellowstone was where Yellowstone is now, it was kind of traversing across Idaho, or as the plate moved, the plate was getting burnt on the bottom by that hot spot, and as the plate moved, where Yellowstone is kind of moved with it. So the area that we're talking about used to be just like Yellowstone. And so I want to talk about a couple of different types of volcanic features. And we are going to, I think I messed that up. We're going to talk first about a place called Manan Buttes. And so Manan Buttes are these two fun-looking volcanic structures. And we're going to talk about what they are, as well as a couple of other things. So what we're looking at for Manan Buttes, those are two things called tuff cones. And so that just occurs when you have magma plus water, really explosive. We're also going to be talking about cinder cones today. So when I use those two words, this image is just what I'm going to be talking about. All right, so we are going to share this other bit of the screen as well. So let's get back to Google Earth. And so we're going to go first to Manan Buttes. And Manan Buttes is near Idaho Falls in Rexburg. So if you're looking for fun trips to include in your post-apocalypse road trip, I highly recommend Manan Buttes. And as we showed before in those two images, or in that one image, right? It's two of these weird volcanic features where you had lava and magma plus water. So what happened is magma hit some groundwater, exploded. It's the same thing that happens if you are to flick some water onto your hot pan. And so one of the cool things is to look at the shapes of these. So we're going to use this Google Earth Path tool. And if we draw a line across that, if we start in the north and kind of scoot down, you can go across the rim of your first tuff cone, scoot in between them. And then you see this bottom tuff cone is a little bit more symmetrical. So there's a lot of cool things we can explore with Google Earth, and Manan Buttes are one of those things. And so let's zoom out and explore a couple of other features. So Manan Buttes is here. The Tetons are on the right part of the screen. You can see the snow-capped mountains. I want to draw your attention to a couple of more features before we go. This weird Satan's looking trident thing in between Blackfoot and Idaho Falls, that's something called Hell's Half Acre. That area erupted lava, about 6 cubic kilometers of lava, which is 6 times larger than the amount of lava erupted during the 2018 Kilauea eruption. But the area that I want to talk about is here in this big black blob, and there's a little tiny blob next to it where we'll stop before we talk about some ice caves. So the area we're looking at here is called Craters of the Moon. It's a really fun national monument and historic preserve. And the oldest lava flows that are part of this area are about 15,000 years old. The youngest are about 2,000 years old. And so some of the things that we're looking at are very similar to what you'd see in Hawaii, those alignments of different cones. Remember when I showed that image on Firefox, that cinder cone? You have a lot of those cinder cone type structures. One of the things I really like about this park is the fact that it is accessible for people with disabilities. There are a lot of good paved paths, a lot of wide areas to get folks with different mobility aids. So if you're looking for a fun, accessible field area to go visit, highly would recommend this area. You can climb, there are a lot of cinder cones to visit. There are some ice caves, and we're going to talk about ice caves a little bit further. You can see different types of things called spatter cones, lava flows. The whole business is here. I really like this part of Idaho in particular. A little bit to the west, we have one more lava flow that I want to talk about. This is called the Shoshone lava flow. And there are some fun things that you can visit here. There are ice caves, and in the 1950s, they flew in some figure skaters and took some promotional material of these folks figure skating in these below ground ice caves. And these ice caves are actually, they're not caves in the same way that we have caves in Mammoth Cave or Carlsbad Caverns. They're more like lava tubes. So more like, again, the things you'd see in Hawaii. So we visited a couple of things here, and I just want to end with one of the oldest features on the Snake River Plain. This is called Big Southern Butte, this lumpy business here in the middle. And it's something called an exogenous dome. That's a fancy nerd word for toothpaste-like lava that comes out at the surface. Other examples would be like some of the domes that Mount St. Helens has, and things like that. So there are a lot of really cool features to see here on the Snake River Plain. It's one of my favorite areas to visit in the whole entire contiguous United States. You got mountains, you got lava flows, you're close to the Tetons, you're close to Yellowstone, you're close to Salt Lake, a whole lot of good things to see. Thank you so much, Beth, for having me.
Thanks, Liz. That's all sorts of great things to put on the bucket list. That's really cool to hear that there was actually ice skating in the caves, and that is just a ton of lava in a place that used to look like Yellowstone. That was really sweet. Thanks so much for the tour.